Hey, Composing Gloves here, and today we're going to be building some Diatonic 7th chords. Originally, I had another exercise that I was going to include with this, and I did it one time until I realized I did it wrong. So I went back, fixed it, and there's just modulations and things in there that we just haven't talked about. So I decided to omit it, and we'll bring it up at a more appropriate place. I don't want to throw too much at you. And also, Diatonic 7ths, that you mostly just need to know what they are and be able to build them, and so that when you see them, because these are the most common ones you'll see, right? Because they're the diatonic ones and they fulfill specific roles. So when you see these, they'll be there for specific reasons. And as you go through more and more harmony, you'll come across them and actually talk about each one individually and what they're typically used for, not necessarily the rules. But just so you know, that's sort of why there's not as much on this. It's not as stressed a topic. It's mostly you need to be able to recognize these things when they occur, and then you'll be expected to know how to use them when we actually talk about the uses of each one. So yeah, so let's go ahead and let's jump in. So, oh, and just another note, you will be asked at some point if you ever go to school for this. If you get high into the higher stuff, they're going to point at you and say, build this chord in this inversion in your head right now. Like, they'll do that to you. And if you take the musicianship classes, they'll ask you to sing it on top of it. So you want to be comfortable with this. So right now we have our time. Let's take our time. Let's develop a system that will allow us to get to a place where we can do that. So we start off, right? And so I give you the key on top. It says create the following chords given the key and scale degree. Also include chord symbols. Ignore the hidden notes. So this one has hidden notes like the previous exercises, because I have a keep staves with rest hidden option on, because originally I had other stuff here. But remember, in order to undo it, you simply click the note and the inspector tab, turn visible on. If you don't have your inspector tab, go to view, inspector tab. So okay, let's go ahead and get to it, right? You have everything. You should have everything. That's what I want to say, but you do. You have everything you need to build the chord. So let's look at the first one. So we have, okay, a major key. We're in the key of D major because there's two sharps. And you might be going, well, I struggle with scales. I'm not so sure. First off, get stronger with scales, because you should have D major, no problem. But we can also use our key signature trick. So we say, well, this is the last sharp. The note above this sharp is the major scales key. And so we go C sharp. So the note above is a D. So we know we're in D major. So there we go. We're in D major. What if it said minor? What if it was minor instead? How'd you figure that out? Well, first you'd figure out it was in D major. And then you'd say, all right, D major. So now you think, what is the major 6 up or the minor 3rd down? If you go a minor 3rd down, you get to B natural. If you go a major 6 up, you get to B natural. So you would say, oh, this is B minor. So if this said minor, which we have some minor ones in some other places. So there you go. There's the process. So now we think, all right, well, now we know our scale, which gives us a set of notes. And so we look at our chord now and we say, oh, this is a half diminished 7 chord, right? Because it's got this bass position here. And so we say, well, first, before we worry about the bass position, let's worry about the diminished part of it, right? Because the 7 is just sort of like an add-on, and we'll worry about the inversion later. So we say, okay, well, this is a 7. This is a diminished chord on the 7th scale degree. So we need to think, well, what is the 7th scale degree? In this case, it's a major 7. It would be C sharp. But I really prefer to think of it as if you start at D, right? Because that's our key. So if we put a note down starting at D, where's my N? There we go. So we put a note down at D. A note down, just one key down, is C sharp. It's hidden right now because I have my key signature, so it's diatonically C sharp. And so I say, okay, well, that's my 7 chord. So I'm not going to be starting on a C sharp. That's pretty high. Let's put one down here. Get rid of that one. And so now we say, well, we need to build a diminished chord. And you could think, minor 3rd, lowered 5th. But in this case, you actually don't, because we know it's going to be diatonic. And so we say, all right, we just did it. It's literally that easy. Add in the 3rd, add in the 5th. You know you're right because you're working diatonically. So there's one major advantage to knowing which chords are diatonic and which ones aren't. I oftentimes still find myself spelling chords regardless. But yeah, if I happen to just have that off the top of my head, you can skip a couple steps, just like bang, bang. And if we listen to it, oh, whoops, I have this hidden note. Let's replace that with let's just make it a C for now. So we say, oh, it's a diminished chord for sure. Whoops. It's like, whoa. Now, is this coming through? Yeah, it is. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to add a 7, right? And we know it's going to be diatonic, but we can check it. I actually caught a mistake earlier. I had a full diminished sign instead of a half diminished sign, which full diminished does not occur diatonically. And the major scale is one of my questions. Couldn't believe I made that mistake. Make sure that doesn't occur anywhere else. So, all right, now let's go ahead and we look at our 7, and we know it's got to be diatonic, so that's got to be our 7. And now we say, all right, well, what's the inversion? What note is in the bass? So we say, well, we look at this 5-6, and you remember from the bass position exercises, a 5-6 is the 7th chord in first inversion, right? And first inversion means that the third's in the bass. So we take our C, and you can hit Control up to move it up an octave, or you could drag it up there if you want. Now our third is the lowest note. Now what we need to do is respell our chord so that it's across the grand staff. Because I won't, generally at this point, it's unacceptable to put all the notes on one chord like this unless you're doing like some, well, there are reasons like for now, but for these, I really want you to go across the grand staff. If you're writing harmony, it would definitely be unacceptable for four parts. So let's go ahead and do that. So first, this E, let's get rid of that. And let's just make this E, because we know the lowest note has to be an E. And so we say, where's the E? So we say, here's E, and we'll make it visible. And then we say, well, let's just move the G down too. What the heck? We'll do one of these. So we move the G down, and we're done. And there you have it. So we just moved the G down and the E down. And we've got it. Now what we need to do is also, we need to, oh, why is this grayed out? Oh, I must have hit it. I did. I don't want it to be hidden. We also need to include a chord symbol, right? So we come here, we hit Control K, and we know that this is a C sharp diminished, and it is a 7 chord. We won't worry about inversions since I haven't really talked about inversions with chord symbols yet, but there are ways. And there you go. We are good to go, and then we can move on to the next one. So, yeah, that's that. So now this is I should put down half. It's not a fully diminished 7. It's a half diminished 7, right? Because this is a minor 7. And remember, it's a minor 7 because we start at C sharp. We don't start at D. So some of you guys might start at D and put a full diminished. But we start at C sharp. And so that makes the B natural a minor 7, which you could also check if you feel so inclined by, you could just do this, right? Here's our C sharp on top, right? We want to make sure that this is a minor 7. So we simply go, well, okay, if this is C sharp, that means that this must be a 7 of some kind. And a B sharp, because a B sharp would be a half step down, right? One note. So a B natural is a full step, so that's a minor 7. So there you have it. It's a minor 7. So it's a C sharp half diminished. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day.